going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Blake again, coming at y'all for another video. And yeah, it's been a while. It's been well over a year, I think, since I've really posted anything. I think you're close to it, but it's been over a year since the car's been done with the Kenny Bell setup on here. If anybody's new to my channel, this is my '97 Cobra. It's a family car. It's something that I love dear to my heart. And I not only this particular car, but I just love the 96 and 98 Cobra platform in general. I'm a big SN95 guy. I grew up with SN95s. It's all I've really been around. Had a Mach 1 that was built. My dad had an 03, 04 Cobra. This was his originally, bought it in 05. It's been in the family a really long time. He gave it to me a few years ago. I decided that I wanted to do the Kenny Bell on this car because I'm a torque guy. I know the heads and the intake manifold on this car perform very well with the centrifugal blower setup. I'm very aware of that. However, even though centrifugal blowers, they sound awesome. I've ridden in centrifugal Cobras and they're phenomenal. It's just not the route that I wanted to go. And nothing to say bad about centrifugals. You can't really say anything bad about them. Just not my preferred style of driving. So I had a Vortec originally for this car, and I decided to trade it for the Kenny Bell. Met up with a guy, really nice dude. Got this, and I put it on the car. My motor is not stock. It does have a built short block, but I only built it because I bent a connecting rod in number 8 due to having an intense amount of water in the engine from a bad rainstorm. I do live in Florida. If anybody's familiar with Florida, rain seasons, they're very random and sporadic, and sometimes you can just have flooded roads. And a storm came out of nowhere, and I tried to make it home, and that intake cost me a $7,000 engine. So there's that. But with that being said, it's a built short block. I do have stock heads, stock factory cams. The only thing upgraded in the heads are the valve springs. They're a pack stage 2. Other than that, it's H-beam rods, 4 valve relief pistons, and it's 11-to-1 compression. So it's a very high compression motor. With this Kenny Bell, it is dyno tuned already, but I do run E85 methanol kit on this car, and I do have a upgraded ECU to help manage the just the tune and everything for this setup. So the car's been done for over a year, and I wanted to tell you guys about my experience with the car. Since a lot of people don't run this blower, if you click this video, you guys might be interested to know how my car's held up being high compression, or if you guys are just curious in general, if you guys prefer torque, and if you like, Kenny Bells or anything like that. This is probably going to be your most accurate real world person trying to give you as much advice as possible with this Kenny Bell. I did find some new research about the blower, and the good thing about being a car guy is we're always looking to modify and improve things, right? So I'm not getting rid of the Kenny Bell at all. I absolutely love this Kenny Bell 2.1 twin screw on my car. It changed the whole characteristic of the car. If you guys are well aware, if you guys own one of these vehicles, you know that the horsepower and torque, especially torque, is just, it's not there in the low end of these things. These cars make 250, 255, if you're lucky, 260 stock. It's just not going to cut it. They're very robust, reliable vehicles. I mean, this particular car has well over 200,000 miles on it. I still run in this car with the Kenny Bell the original T45 transmission, factory, 10 spline input shaft. And the only thing really done to the car is I've kept up with the transmission fluid changes when I've taken out the transmission. New pilot bearing, new all the things that go with installing a clutch. The clutch I run is a McLeod Super Street Pro, and I actually put the same clutch back in this car when I did this whole build, because the clutch only had about 7,000 to 8,000 miles on it, and it was in really good shape. Instead of new flywheel, and resurfaced the pressure plate. So just put it back in the car, and it's been running good ever since. So my car to the wheels dynos, it dynoed at 430 at the wheels and 395 torque, and I'm going to round up because we're all car guys. We like to round up, so it makes 430 and 400 foot-pounds of torque. And I'll put the graph up on the screen. Car makes about 11 to 12 pounds of boost, and a lot of you guys will think that that's highly inefficient, and you're right. However, the biggest thing with this car is besides being non-intercooled with this Kenny Bell setup, the elbow on this car is highly restrictive. I did some digging, and it flows worse than what I thought, actually. I originally thought they flowed 536 to 537 CFM. Going on some old forums with some people that dug into these and kind of tinkered with them, they actually flow around 500. So I've got a really good cold air on the car. I've got an AccuFab monoblade oval throttle body on it, and the factory elbow on this car from Kenny Bell is just absolutely atrociously awful. It's probably the most restrictive thing I've ever seen. I'm not exaggerating. I'll put up pictures of my personal inlet with rough casting and bends and stuff inside of the elbow. And there's two columns that protrude in the back of the elbow right before the rotor pack. So, all that to be said, the Kenny Bell is a 2.1. It's not the biggest blower in the world, but it's also not the smallest. I want to port the elbow really bad and try to squeeze out some more if I can. But to get to my point with this whole video, as this whole year, I've absolutely loved this Kenny Bell. I haven't had a single problem with this car. With the added horsepower and torque now at the wheels, my transmission's been fine. I haven't had an issue with that. I keep up religiously on the oil changes, because this car runs full E85 at all times, and meth, so that's a little bit harder on your oil. So I keep up. I did bump the weight up to 5W40 weight oil to help with viscosity from all the severe heat. E85 and meth, it dilutes the oil quicker, so I just change it more frequent with higher weight. Haven't had a single problem. Oils look phenomenal. No signs of any internal damage or anything like that. I've driven this car a lot. I drove it a ton in the summertime in Florida, when this past summer was probably the hottest summer we had on record. I drove to work a bunch of times. I've taken it to a bunch of car shows, round trips for like 130 miles. You know, I would just take E85 in gallons and take it in the trunk, just in case I have to stop and need gas. I have not had a problem with this car, with this Kenny Bell, and that's one of the reasons why I also wanted it, because I'm a very simplistic kind of guy. Being non-intercooled, it actually helps out because you don't have an intercooler, you don't have a heat exchanger, you don't have electrical pump, you don't have hoses that feed into the intercooler, you don't have a bunch of odds and ends. You take the cold air off, you take off some hoses on the top, you remove the belt, you got 6 bolts that bolt down the blower, and it comes off. So it's pretty garage friendly, if you ask me. It's been great. It's a ton of fun, and not to mention, you can hear the blower. A lot of complaints is that this thing doesn't whine or it's too quiet. At idle, it's got a really, really noticeable idle, which is really cool. So the characteristic when you're driving or you're going up RPM, you're trying to shift gears, even just in town cruising, you can totally hear the blower. got this unique theater to the car added now. It just adds more some aura points, if you want to put it that way. It's just cool. I had a cop encounter the other day over here in my county, and it was a sheriff, and he was at the gas station, and he saw me pull in. I was just barely creeping on in, and I went inside. He actually got in his car and pulled to the pump next to me and waited for me to get out, and he said he could hear the supercharger. And he knew right off the bat that I had something, so I couldn't it's my power steering pump, officer, no big deal. I told him it was a Kenny Bell, and he perked up. He's like, man, I know about the Kenny Bells, and he's also a fan of these style Cobras, which was cool. All that to be said is I've gotten a lot of compliments with the Kenny Bell on the car, and it's nice and refreshing that people give me like kudos. That's cool. 99% of the time it's either going to be a centrifugal supercharged turbo, or naturally aspirated with the 4-valve in it, or you guys, there's a lot of Coyote swaps now out there, and obviously I'm never going to do that with this car. So this has been the build I've always wanted. This is a true 97 Cobra. This is a true motor came in the car. It's split port B heads. It's stock cams for easy drivability, and it's got all the power that I want for now. It's been great. I haven't really cared much. It pulls good, man. It hauls, man. It's just it's not gonna beat all these modern day cars or nothing like that, but it's just really nice to get this thing a huge healthy bump from where it was stock. These cars definitely need grunting torque, and if you guys are curious, if you guys didn't look at the graph, my peak torque comes in at 3,600 RPMs. So it's a blast. It's a absolute blast. I don't have anything negative to say about the blower. It's treated me good. Like I said, the only caveat to it is it just makes extreme thermal heat. So my advice to anybody that wants to do a Kenny Bell 2.1 of their 96 98 Cobra, by far I would invest in a new ECU. And the reason why I say that is because the modern day ECUs have so much tuning potential, safety features built in. My car runs off of speed density instead of a traditional MAF sensor, so it's more accurate. I'm not a tuner, so don't ask me questions about all that. But it's just the tune was more dialed in. It's just rock solid. E85 definitely a must, or full E85 or a flex fuel setup for sure, and primarily run E85 most of the time. That's all I run in this car for now. The goal is to do a flex sensor setup in the future, and I can do that because I have the upgraded ECU. And another thing about the upgraded ECU, my stock Cobra computer, when I tried to get an email tune for this thing, just a running tune, fouled out 2 brand new sets of spark plugs within 4 starts. The computer could just not do what it was supposed to with this thing. Don't ask me why or how. I don't know. I got the new computer in the car, and the same tune fired up on the first try. So don't really know about that. E85 for sure. A methanol kit absolutely to help cool the charge temp when you're in the boost, for sure. What I did with my car while the car was down for my complete build is I overhauled kind of the cooling parts. And because a lot of it was just old and just at some point it's going to give me issues in the future. So I have a 3-row aluminum radiator, brand new. I have the MMR head cooling mod routed in the back of the heads, so it disperses all the coolant evenly, and all the pistons are at the same temp. I ran a water wetter in the coolant system just to help any way I can. Keep up on the fluids, really. I religiously change the oil, and I drive this car 1 to 2 times every 2 weeks just so I can get everything flowing. Cruise up and down, just make sure everything's running good, and I haven't had a problem. And I do beat on it. I do have a ton of fun. I totally recommend it for sure. 100%. If you guys can put up with the downsides to the Kidney Bell, I say the upsides are totally worth it, especially on this platform. Being that it's easy to maintain, as far as the blower goes, it's easy to work on. It has a unique, awesome look in the car. It's just so iconic. When you pop the hood, you just see that massive pulley, that chrome pulley up front. It just screams business, you know. I don't have a single negative, except that just, you know, heat's just always going to be a factor, but positive displacement blowers are always just hot to begin with, no matter what. So they're never going to be the most efficient thing. Centrifugals or turbos are the way to go. If that's what you chase, I would steer you towards that direction. If you're somebody like me that just cares about your car, you cruise, you'll go to Mexico every once in a while. You just like to take care of your baby. You like, you know, style and you know, cool points, if you want to call it that. You know, just have something special and different. A lot of people, I've fooled a few people thinking that they thought this was a Terminator motor because I have the C-head valve covers. I did the coil on plug conversion on my car, and a couple of people have been fooled with this. So it's been fun, kind of tricking people. But like I said, you'll have people that'll just steer you away from it because of the heat. My advice, like I stated before, you need to go 100% in on all of the cooling, as much cooling as you can do, and put up with the downsides of cooling the blower down, because I think the upsides counteract that. Nothing's going to be perfect, but yeah, man, I just wanted to check, fill you guys in on my car. I figured I'd change it up a little bit. I saw a red Cobra on YouTube, and he kind of did this style video. I think he's like being interviewed or something, and he had a 1.5 Kidney Bell on his car, and it was just cool. He talked about it. He said that he fell in love with the S95 Cobras just like I fell in love with them. If I was in a spot, I would buy another one of these things, because people are starting to finally understand that the S95, 96, 98 Cobras are just good cars. And I think the window is probably closing on that soon, and people will start posting more content on them. I got a good feeling about it. So the goal for me is to start making more content again with this. I did buy one modification already for this car that I want to do that should help with the IATs somewhat, and I'll show you what that is. Alright guys, so if you don't know this company yet, I highly suggest that you research them. The gentleman that owns the company is, his name is Mr. Ricardo. He's a very nice guy, and me and him talk online. We're friends on Facebook, and I was really proud to be able to purchase his and does for the S95 community. And not only that, he's done some very rigorous data and research on this, and this mod should definitely help me as far as IATs go when it comes to the supercharger when I'm driving down the highway, to help cool it down a little bit and give me an extra little bit of safety. So if you don't know his company is called Sun Chaser, and he makes these ram air cold air intake, these functional ram air cold air intakes for the 97 Cobra. And as a side note, one thing I love about the Mach 1s, 0304 Mach 1s, and just Mach 1s in general, is the hood scoop. And being that they were functional hood scoops was just always such a cool thing for me. I love functionality. And this is the headlight. And over here on the left, where it's got this little opening on the left over here, that's where the air is going to come through when I'm driving down the road. And over here is where I'm going to put an LED projector headlight. But it's going to be kind of cool because it's going to give off like 0304 Cobra Terminator vibes. I'm sure you guys have seen the cutout headlight on the Terminators, like if they're on the drag racing or anything. They got the regular headlight, then they got the cutout opening for the filter. I've always liked that look. And here is the filter. Doesn't look that big probably from over there, but my whole hand can fit inside of this. And I have room in here. So this is a really beefy unit. And he claims that when you drive above 40 miles per hour, so in-town driving or really anything, you can drop the IATs from 25 to 30 degrees. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Catching up on the old Cobra. She's still doing well. She's rocking away. I plan on keeping this thing, a long time. Who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe I will find somebody that want to make me a modified intercooler for this thing. That'll obviously help out for sure. But as of right now, as far as simplicity goes and stuff, it's great. I love easy use and working on it. So the fact that it also use one serpentine belt too is cool. The Cobra has two, and this has just one, one serpentine drive setup. So can't complain.